You're listening to the Membership Geeks podcast, bringing you proven practical tips and advice from the leading experts on growing a successful membership business.
Well, hello there, membershippers. Welcome to episode 455 of the Membership Geeks podcast. I'm your host, Mike Morrison, founder of Membership Geeks Membership Academy and your host for the show. And this is the first episode of 2026. I hope you had an awesome break. I hope you're raring to go in making this year the one where you truly hit new heights with your membership business. Now, whether you're listening to this episode when it very first comes out, right at the start of January, or maybe you're catching up a little later into the month, perhaps you had a little bit of a crazy holiday period, maybe you overindulged, you've taken a little bit more time to get into the swing of things. Whatever it is, I'm sure that you'll have used the holiday season, the little bit of the easing off, the break that I hope that you've had, to reflect on how last year went. What worked, what didn't, what goals you had that you achieved, and what goals you fell short of. What plans you had, what hopes you had that maybe didn't quite pan out. What were the surprising things that moved the needle more than you'd expected? So, really do hope you've had the chance to reflect and you're in a position now where you're looking ahead to 2026 and thinking, right, okay, what is going to bring me the growth that I want this year? Whether you are growing a brand new membership, perhaps you launched last year, you got a bit of momentum going, and this is the year where you're resolving to really strap a rocket onto your new venture. Or maybe you're growing an existing membership. Perhaps you've had steady growth and you want to make sure that you are really looking at how we're going to keep that going and keep that sustainable in the face of a changing industry, a changing market. Or maybe you struggled. Maybe things start to ease off last year. Maybe you didn't hit those goals and you're now looking at the year ahead thinking, what in the heck am I going to do? What am I going to change in order to ensure that I achieve growth? Whatever camp you're in, this episode is for you because I'm going to talk about the things that will help you to grow your membership in 2026. So in this episode, I want to give you 5 priorities, 5 key things that I genuinely believe will fuel your membership success this year. And this applies to all membership owners. I'm not sharing hacks. I'm not sharing marketing gimmicks. I'm not going to give you any magic bullets. We're just talking practical things that will help you to set out your stall, to build that momentum, and to achieve the growth that you and your membership deserve. So that in 12 months from now, when you're listening to this episode, you're thinking, hey, you know what? Yes, I did reflect on my year, and what an awesome year that was. So the very first thing you need to do is get a grip of your numbers and use them to set clear goals. Yes, it's boring. I know this is where the eyes glaze over. You're hoping I was going to say, well, you know, if you run Facebook ads with this precise targeting, then you're going to be rich. No, you know that's not what this show is about. First thing you need to do, every membership owner, if you don't already, is get a solid grip of your numbers. This is boring. This is admin. It's dry. It's like being told you need to eat your vegetables, but you need to eat your vegetables, right? And KPIs, data, stats, they are the vegetables of the membership industry. They will nourish your future plans. I like how I was able to use that analogy on the fly, but this really is the foundation of your growth. Because if you don't know what your numbers are, then you're just kind of winging it. Right? You're poking around in the dark. You're running your membership on vibes and hunches and gut feeling. Sometimes you'll get it right, but most of the time you won't. You are just stumbling around hoping that you're focusing on the right things. And then if you fall short of your targets, if you don't hit your goals, if you start to plateau, you don't know why. You haven't got a clue because you're not informed. You don't know what your numbers are. Without knowing your numbers, you're never going to know what's working. You're never going to know what's broken. You're not going to know what's causing problems or what's standing in the way of growth, or indeed if you're even growing. So many people just look at the dollars or the pounds that are in their bank account and think, okay, I've got more money than last year, that's growth. Or they rely on a general sense of, well, it feels busier, it feels like we had more sales. Maybe they have the number of signups. Maybe they have that really basic level information. You have made X amount of sales this month. But that alone doesn't tell the full story. You need to have all of your KPIs covered. The numbers tell you where to focus. You need to know your conversion rates. You need to know your churn, your retention rates. You need to know average member lifetime value so that you know how much every new member is truly worth over the long run. You need to know your revenue. You need to know your expenses. You need to know the rate at which you're growing. If you're running trials, you need to know how many of those convert from trial to fully paid. There are so many KPIs you need to have a handle on, and most membership owners simply don't. Now, of course, if you're an Academy member, we have a whole KPIs cheat sheet. We've got a metrics cheat sheet, which breaks down every key stat, every single piece of data you should be on top of and how to calculate it. But whether you're a member or not, find a way of getting on top of this. If you want to make more money in your membership, if you want more growth, there's only a few different levers that you can pull. You can bring in more members, you can increase what they're paying, get people to stay longer, get more people to come back. But you're not going to know which of those levers, which of those areas to focus on until you know how you're performing in all these key areas. So I want you to really make sure that you do this. Don't just kind of roll your eyes and say, I know, this is something I'm going to get on top of. Get on top of it. Because without it, you are clueless. And you will make mistakes and you will go in the wrong direction. And if you're sitting there lamenting the fact that you didn't hit your goals last year and you don't know your numbers, that's why. You cannot set goals if you don't have the full picture. And you can't guess your way through it because you'll get it wrong. So for example, let's say you start this year with 100 members and then you add 10 new members a month. That's going to feel, okay, great, we're growing, we're getting new members. But if you lose 8% of those members every month, you can work hard all year bringing in 120 new people over the year and you'll end the year with pretty much no increase in your member base. Because that 8% churn rate that maybe you don't realize is 8% will mean that you are just hemorrhaging as many members as you're attracting. So if you're just looking at how many new sales you've got, how many new members you've got, and you look over the year and you're thinking, heck yeah, that's 120 new people added to my membership. Then you're wondering, well, why have I still only really got around 100 people? It's because you're not looking at the full picture. You need to know the basics. You need to know sales. You need to know retention. You need to know lifetime value. You need to know average member tenure, all that sort of stuff. If you don't, you're just going to be sat scratching your head. Why am I stuck? Why am I burning out? Why is this all hard? That's because you're not able to focus on the right areas. So the first thing to fuel your success, your growth this year, is to get to grips with your numbers. And then once you've got that, then you can actually zero in on what needs to improve and set goals that are tied to improving those key performance indicators. So your goals can actually start to get more specific. So you're not setting goals like, I want more members or I want to, reduce churn. You're setting goals like, okay, I need to increase my email to sales conversions by 1%. Or I want to increase the percentage of members who upgrade to annual because that's quite low. Or I want to bring my churn rate down 1.5% because that will represent X amount in increased revenue. When you can do that, when you have the information that enables you to be hyper-specific about your goals, then you've got a clear thing to steer towards. Without it, you're just trying to muddle through the fog. So get to grips with your numbers. That's the first thing. Second thing that will fuel your membership growth this year is to accept the fact that we as membership owners need to stop selling content. Now, I think I've touched on this before on this podcast. This sounds like a terrible thing to say to an audience of people who are ultimately content creators. We are all people who have leveraged our expertise, experience, insight into memberships that are predominantly content-based, workshops, courses. We use content to market our business, podcasts, blogs. We use content to drive sales, like webinars. So before you get upset and before you think, hang on, do I just need to stop making content? Oh, that's my product. I'm not saying content doesn't matter. Of course, content matters. But content can no longer be the thing that you sell. It can't be at the center of your marketing, of your positioning, of your value proposition. It cannot be the be-all and end-all. If you're positioning your membership as the biggest library of content on this topic, or as the Netflix of the nursing industry, you're going to find growth becomes harder and harder because the world has changed. Information is everywhere. Courses are everywhere. People are drowning in content. But the real factor that has commoditized content so much is, of course, AI. People can get answers to their problems and can have essentially content created for them, customized through GPTs, faster than they can log into your membership and cheaper. Content is more rife and more commoditized and more accessible and easier to produce than it's ever been. So this not only means that your audience has access to a greater wealth of information that is actually now just going to be so on demand and tailored to what they're asking, but also your competitors. There are more people entering your market, many of which are actually bringing the quality down because they're just regurgitating AI content. They're using AI to enable them to fake it till they make it. So there's more competitors, but your audience are also spoiled for choice on where to go if they want a step-by-step tutorial on how to do something, if they want advice, information, even specialist information. And knowing that your content is better than that rubbish doesn't matter because your audience do not know enough to know that what you offer in your membership is better than what ChatGPT is going to tell them. So your content is still important. Your content still plays a key part in helping people get that education, in helping people build the knowledge and build the skills, but it cannot be your selling point. So nothing in your marketing, nothing in your value proposition should be about the fact that, we add new courses every week. We've got a huge library that's constantly growing. That sort of stuff might sound good in your head because for so long, we've been equating volume with value. The membership that has the most courses, the most workshops, well, it's the most valuable we can charge. I hear membership owners all the time saying, I want to put my price up because I've added so much more content to my membership since I launched. But that's never mattered. That's never been the thing. Because actually more content can be a bad thing. More content means more options, which means more decision fatigue, which means more confusion, overwhelm, all that sort of stuff. But ultimately, that's not even the problem. Problem is people don't want content. People want results. They want progress. They want transformation. They want a clear path. They want to feel like joining your membership is going to change something meaningful in their life, in their business, in their work, in their health, whatever it is they are there for. They don't want information, they want transformation. They want a better outcome. So in 2026, we need to make sure we're refining our messaging, our marketing, how we talk about our membership, how we sell the value of it. So that instead of leading with, here's what's inside the membership, we become better at leading with, here's how your life is going to change. Instead of selling content, sell the journey. Instead of selling courses, sell progress. Instead of selling features, sell what their life will look like after versus what it looks like now. This is where storytelling becomes so powerful because transformation, results, progress, it's a lot easier to believe and relate to when you can see someone else who's done it. It's easier to commit when you can picture yourself in the story. So the second big thing that's going to fuel your success in 2026 is repositioning your membership to be so much more around outcomes. Talk about the results, talk about the change, talk about what success looks like on the other side, because content, more than ever, is just the delivery mechanism for that. That's always been true, but right now, it is more critical than it's ever been to accept, to embrace that, and to adapt our marketing accordingly. We need to stop selling content. The real value is in transformation. Third big thing we need to do this year is find ways to diversify your offering. So I want to frame this in two different ways because This can sometimes be misunderstood. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, no, I'm happy with my membership's my baby, this is all I want it to be, diversification is going to make your business more likely to be sustainable for the long run. So the first reason you diversify is an obvious one. You don't want all of your eggs in one basket. If all your revenue relies on one membership product, one tier, one audience segment, one way of doing things, that makes you vulnerable. Trends change, if traffic drops, if costs rise, if the market shifts, competitors pop up, or you have significant disrupting factors like AI. We've seen this. That can torpedo what you're doing and suddenly you're exposed. Diversification helps to protect you. It helps to make you a bit more resilient. It stops you from having all of your eggs in one basket. So if things happen in the market, if things happen within your audience that make your membership something which perhaps isn't as compelling as it once was, or make it harder for you to sell the membership, or put you in a place where you're kind of thinking, okay, well, we've gotten this far on everything we've done. We don't know how to go any further with it. If you hit that ceiling, having other things in the mix, other products, other services that complement your membership gives you a lot more in terms of the options you have, gives you more protection, makes your business more resilient. But the second reason for diversifying, this is the one people don't always think about, it actually does help you serve a wider range of member needs because your audience is not one big homogenous blob. Some people in your audience, they want more hand-holding than you can give them in a membership. Some want autonomy, some want to be left to do it themselves. They want to be given courses and resources and just left to get on with it. Some want community, some just want to work directly with you. Some need help on implementation. Some have all the knowledge they need, they know what to do, they don't need educating. They just want accountability. Some want stuff just done for them, or they just want to be able to do it themselves faster. As your membership and as your audience grow, that range of needs becomes a bit more evident. But if you only ever sell your membership, you're often leaving money on the table. That's not always a bad thing. It's okay to leave money on the table if it's not a table you want to sit at. But more importantly, you're leaving big portions potentially of your audience underserved. You're not actually facilitating the kind of help that they might need. Because if you're doing your job right, if your membership is actually helping people get to where they want to go, then your audience over time is increasingly becoming filled with people who've already made it a certain part of the way through the journey, right? Because you've helped them. So what are you going to do to take them further? What can you offer them to take them further? What about the people in there, in your audience, who want a faster path than your membership provides? What about the people who want a bit of hand-holding? What about the people who want accountability? What about the people who just want it done for them? If you don't have ways to serve those needs, then those people are going to kind of filter out of your audience. So look at whether you can serve your audience better by diversifying. And that can look like a lot of things. It might be events, it might be coaching, it might be workshops, it might be selling smaller one-off products, paid masterclasses online, it might be introducing a higher tier within your membership that has more advanced content, a greater degree of access and some implementation support. Maybe you start a mastermind program like our recently launched Membership Accelerator. Over and over again, we see memberships working best when they are part of an ecosystem. When they are part of a lineup, a suite of different products, services, and offerings that cater to different needs of one larger audience. When you offer multiple ways to go deeper, get more support, actually address your audience's needs rather than only catering to that small slither of the market. And that's also how you increase member lifetime value without constantly being in the game of having to bring in more and more new members. Because if you've got upsells, if you've got additional services you can sell to your membership, if you've got higher tiers they can upgrade to, then the potential for them actually investing more with you, working with you longer, increases, and therefore every new person that comes into your world is worth a little bit more to you. So that's the third thing I implore you to do in 2026. Explore ways in which you can diversify your offering and serve more of your audience, not just to cater to the changing, growing needs within your market, but also just to protect and insulate your membership and your business. The fourth thing to do if you want to grow in 2026 is to experiment more. Experimentation is so critical to that longer term growth because there is no blueprint, right? There is no single marketing tactic. There is no proven formula. There is no specific funnel that is going to guarantee results. But so many people ask me that. They ask me, what is the secret? What's the magic formula? What type of ads should I be running? What marketing should I be doing? What can I do to get more sales? As though it's just a button, as though it's just a blueprint that those of us who are experienced, who are experts in this field, kind of keep folded up and tucked away in our back pocket, just waiting for the day someone comes along and says, can you just give me the secret? Can you give me the blueprint? I get it. People want certainty. People like being sold proven formulas. That's why a lot of dodgy internet marketers do so well, because they stand up there and say, you know what, I've got this proven formula. You just do this, then this, then this, and this, and you're guaranteed results. And yeah, that guarantee's not worth the paper it's printed on. Because of course it isn't. Because if there was just a certain formula that was guaranteed to work, everybody would be doing it, and then it would stop working and we're all chasing the next formula. But I understand people wanting that. People want certainty. They want someone to stand up and say, if you just do this one thing, everything will work. You'll get everything you need. You'll achieve the growth you want. You'll make all the money. You'll be fantastically rich. You'll be fantastically successful. They want that. And I get it. We all would love that. We all want the guarantee. We don't want to waste time. We don't want to waste money. We don't want to make the wrong moves. But that comes from a scarcity mindset. It comes from a fear that if we don't get it right this week, this month, it might be the last chance we have to get it right. If that ad campaign we run doesn't deliver perfectly 100% of the results that we want, that might be the last time we're ever in a position to run ads. Our business might collapse. We want that certainty because we're scared. But if you're waiting for certainty, you're going to stay stuck. You're going to be waiting a long time. So instead of chasing someone else's formula, waiting for someone to give you the blueprint, the answer, you need to develop the habit of experimentation. So we're not talking about just throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. You need to have good data, good feedback from your members to enable you to put together sound hypotheses, solid research-backed assumptions. Okay, well, we've done this thing before. It drove new members, and the feedback, the data tells us that this campaign we've ran before brought in new members. Feedback from our audience is this. So if we made this change, or we tried this thing, or we adapted this strategy that's worked for someone else or worked for us before, then we would expect this to do well. Let's go test it. That needs to be your mindset. You're not looking to make a hole-in-one from your first ever golf swing, right? You've got to get into that routine, get into the habit of experimenting. Hypothesize, test, measure, learn, adapt. You want to know if something's going to work for your membership? Test it. If you've got an idea, you have a hunch, if you've seen something in your data, something in your feedback, something in your research that has made you think perhaps this could work. I wonder, maybe this might actually improve churn. Maybe this could drive some sales. I think this might work, but you want the certainty, you want the answer, you want to know if it'll work? Test it. You want to know if your audience will respond to a trial offer? Test it with a segment of your audience. Want to know whether a new idea for a lead magnet will convert better than your current one? Test it. Run a split test where you have the two side by side. Some of your audience see the old one, some see the new one. Test it. Look at the data. Want to know if the changes you're thinking about for your member onboarding will improve retention? Test it and then track it over 90 days and compare. Experimentation is powerful. Experimentation is necessary. Every successful business is doing this. Some might not call it experimenting, or some might talk about it with the kind of confidence which makes it sound like it's not an experiment. I know this is going to work. I'm just doing this. They have that confidence that they don't consider experimentation, but it is. The reason people don't like to experiment, even though it's the only way you can replace the guesswork, it's the only way to get clarity. People don't like it because an experiment brings with it the suggestion of failure. But failure is not a bad thing. Businesses are built on failure. Failure is feedback. Feedback is valuable. Sometimes the best thing that can come out of an experiment is getting clarity on what not to do. So you can scratch it off the list and never think about it again, never waste any time, never waste any money. If you've been holding off on running paid ads for your membership for years because you're not sure if they're going to work, but you find yourself, every time you sit down to think about your strategy to plan your marketing, you find yourself thinking, maybe we do bring paid ads, and you do a bit of research and you mess around with it, but then you ultimately don't go for it because you're not certain. Best thing you can do, run an experiment. If it works, fantastic. Learn from it, build on it. If it doesn't, fantastic. You can cross that off the list, never think about it again. That clarity is on its own worth the failure, worth the experiment. The fastest growing, the most successful memberships, they don't have access to some super secret knowledge that you don't. They haven't been blessed with the gift of the perfect funnel that someone has decided to keep from you. They don't have it all figured out. They are the ones who commit themselves to figuring it out. They are the ones that learn the fastest, that fail the fastest, because they're willing to test, they're willing to fail, they're willing to learn, instead of just guessing or living in that fear of the uncertainty that comes from experimentation. So you want to drive growth in 2026, start experimenting and learn to see the value of failure as well as success. And the fifth big thing is to put yourself in the right room. Get yourself into the right environment with the right support. Now, I believe it was Napoleon Hill, I might have it wrong, who said that you are the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Something like that. But the point is that the room you are in, the networks you're in, the people you surround yourself with, they will actually shape you, your business, the things that you do. And so your environment really does matter. Most membership owners, we are doing this alone. We started this alone. And a lot of us started it because we were experts at the thing we do. We were not experts at running a business about the thing that we do. And so a lot of us are isolated. A lot of us get stuck because we have to make decisions on our own. We've got to deal with all this in our head. No external perspective, no accountability. Certainly no one giving you the answers, no one giving you a structured path for what to do next. That's where communities like Membership Academy can help out. That is why we built it the way that we did. As this industry's continued to grow, the power of being in a community with other membership owners who've been where you are and who are at places you want to get to, that power is so incredibly important. So you need to put yourself in that room, whether it's in the academy, whether it's within a mastermind, whether it's finding some peers that you can vent to, that you can get advice from. Whatever shape it takes, make sure you actually start putting yourself in the right rooms and building that support network. Now, of course, Membership Academy, I'm slightly biased, but it is the #1 membership for membership owners. We bring you that community. We bring you that accountability, that place that you can go to that is safe for you to vent about that problem member and get a little bit of advice. For you to admit, you know what, I'm stuck. I've tried all these things and they have not worked. What do I do next? The Academy community gives you that space, but also we give you all the education, we give you the tools, the templates, the support for pretty much anything you can imagine. And we recently took our signature membership roadmap, which has helped over 10,000 membership owners to launch a new membership site. We've actually expanded on that to add a growth phase. So now that membership roadmap, The first phase of it will get you launched, but the next phase is going to help you grow. So to build on your audience growth, to expand your email list and fuel your advanced lead generation strategies, to increase your sales conversions, to improve member retention, and to stabilize the processes in your business. So in terms of that pathway, the education, the knowledge, the strategies and tactics that you should implement, and all the support to actually help you execute, we've got all of that waiting for you inside Membership Academy as well. Plus, you get access to me directly. So we have a feature there called Pick My Brains that enables you to send a private video message to me. That comes in on my phone, and I will watch, I will research, I will dig into my decade plus of experience in this industry, and I'll reply to you directly to your device in private, giving you that insight, giving you that coaching, giving you that consulting. You have the access to my support as the leading expert in online memberships, if I say so myself. You have the access to the best, most up-to-date, cutting-edge education in the world of memberships that is designed to ensure you are making progress with each lesson, each step that you take. You're getting real results. But more importantly, you have the room to be in. You have the community that will give you that support network, that will give you the sounding board, that will cheer you on and pick you up, give you their experiences, give you the benefit of their knowledge, share what they're doing, and work together to ensure that 2026 doesn't just see one or two of us growing our memberships. 2026 sees us all growing and thriving. So that is the fifth thing I encourage you to do. It would be fantastic if you join Membership Academy, but whether it's the academy, whether it's another community, whether it's a private mastermind, whether it's local peers, whatever it is, get yourself a support system. I feel this is going to become more important than ever. The internet is becoming a more divided place. It's becoming a more isolated place. We've never been more connected, but we've never been more alone. And in business in particular, that can be a killer. So put yourself in a room with the right kind of people, build a support network, give yourself access to people who get it, who understand, and who can actually be an asset to you and your business. And if you don't know where to be for that, Membership Academy is there to be that support system. All right, that is it from me for this episode. I do urge you to follow the advice, to get on top of your numbers, to embrace experimentation, to find ways to diversify, to stop selling content and start focusing on the transformation, and to build yourself that support system of people who are going to help you on your path towards phenomenal growth in 2026. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you all do. And of course, I'm going to be here with this show each and every week, dispensing proven practical tips and advice that will help you with your membership growth. So thank you so much for listening, and let's make 2026 an incredible year for us all. I'll see you on the next episode of the Membership Geeks podcast. Bye for now. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Membership Geeks podcast, we invite you to check out membershipacademy.com. Membership Academy is the original membership about memberships, and it's the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a successful online membership business. Whether you're still trying to figure out what your idea is going to be and you need some help making it a reality, or whether your website is already up and running and you're looking for ways to grow and attract new members, then Membership Academy can help you to get to the next level. Not only do you get access to our step-by-step membership roadmap, our extensive training library, and exclusive member-only discount and tools, you'll also become part of our supportive, active community of membership owners that will help you along the way in your journey with feedback, encouragement, and advice. All of this and more make Membership Academy the #1 place to be for anyone looking to start, manage, and grow a successful membership business. Check it out and join the community at membershipacademy.com.